So I'm doing my own adapted version of Romeo and Juliet by me, Sophie Holland.
Yeah.
Obviously, before you do any kind of play or anything, you have to kind of research about previous things and what people have done before, so you don't copyright. And obviously, we've looked at Shakespeare's original version, The West Side Story, and Baz Luhrmann's, and you see a repeated pattern of what was going on at that kind of time in the era, what was the big event. And obviously I found out that, you know, Shakespeare's was about, you know, the religion, and then you had the West Side Stories about like the different races and different people coming from America, and, you know, and then you have the gang violence.
Okay.
So
sorry, just have you got go on? Okay, go on.
No,
carry
no,
on,
no,
carry
okay.
on, carry on. I'll ask you a question at the end.
Okay. And then it really got me thinking, what's the massive conflict in like today's society, and what's the biggest one? And it's the ISIS. And obviously I've researched about what was happening, not just in our country, obviously in different countries as well. There was a big terrorism attack in France, and like 14 people died. But as you can see, the media kind of make the whole religion out to be something, like they're all categorised all in the same way. Like they're all bad people, they're killing people for their religion and stuff like that. So taking that into consideration, 419 years ago and 4 months after Romeo and Juliet was first written, we are still fighting about religion. And so I still feel like that's a massive part of our confrontation with everyone is religion, because it's not fact but it's opinion, and I think people can't take opinions too well, if you know what I mean. So that's that thing. So I've set my play in a rural town in Iraq. This is where the biggest conflict of religion is, because obviously you do have Christians and then you do have Muslims and Islamic.
Yeah.
So Juliet is going to be living in kind of one of like these mud huts and whatnot, and her mother and father and stuff like that. And I have designed her outfit. It's going to be very plain and dark, because obviously she's poor, and she's obviously living in this. So it's been mismatch, and, you know, obviously the traditional head banner kind of thing. So, you know, so this is where she lives, and this is Romeo's family. His dad is one of the leaders of ISIS, and what I've planned is that Romeo and his dad travel to different towns and kill people that aren't Muslims, which has happened before. So I've took that as an event and changed it into, like, you know, the greatest love story ever. So obviously he goes in to the town and finds Juliet, and they fall in love, but obviously she's a Christian and he's ISIS, and obviously he has to choose between his family, whether to kill her because she's not Muslim or to stay with her because he loves her. The 4 strategic aims. Obviously the opportunities for this is a great deal, because it shows people that what is happening, and like they're not all horrible people, even though the play is quite dramatic and whatever. But I want to try and open people's eyes and see what is actually happening, not just in our country alone, but, you know, behind closed doors. The diversity, I think, is very good, because I don't think there's been many plays about... There's been plays about army and going to kill them and stuff like that, but there hasn't really been too many, like, love stories and stuff. So I think a different approach to them will kind of change people's mind of Muslims. I want to target audience is like 15-year-olds. I think that's the age where your mum starts telling you stuff about the world and you start realising more, like you're growing up. And I think if you start young and teach them young, they're going to grow up to come up with their own kind of opinion of it. The language, I want to keep it Elizabethan style, because I think that is the biggest connection for us as English people to relate to the, you know, Islamic, and plus it's controversial and it's different. Jazakahama ala Karana. Thank you for listening in Muslim.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't show you that.
What's that?
That's the Romeo's outfit.
So, why didn't you just set it as, I don't know, a Muslim and Christian in England?
Because we're a very selfish country, kind of. Not that we're selfish, I don't want to say it in a mean way, but we do worry about ourselves and, oh, you know, we're in danger and stuff like that. But then people in the rural towns, they don't have police and they don't have people to stop them. They just have a knife under their pillow and whatnot, and they have to protect their families. And I think it's more pride, it's more, I don't know how to say it, it's more powerful because it means a lot more. It's their life, not just, it generally it's life and death situation. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to have a bit of conflict with my friends now, I'm not going to have any friends. It's like you choose your family, or like.
So you think it makes it more powerful and dramatic?
I think the story will be more effective to people when it generally is. Like Romeo and Juliet, everyone says, oh, it's lovely that he died and her and him died, you know, for one another. So I think this story as well is kind of like that.
So what do you want young people to take away from this, if they're going to take anything away from it?
I want to take people, like, to open people's eyes to religion and not walk down the street. And even though it is about ISIS and about how it, you know, is bad in a way, I want people to take away that, like, oh, I don't know how to say it, I can't get it out. Can you ask me a question that will help me get the answer out?
So, you know, I'm a 15-year-old who's just been to the play. What do you want me to go home and say, Mum, I've just seen this play, this is what I think?
I want them to go home to their mum.
What's their response?
And if their mum turns around and be like, oh, you know, Muslims are scum and Muslims kill people, I want them to turn around and be like, no, sometimes they have to do it to live. Sometimes people are made to do it. Like, if someone come up to you with a gun and said, you have to be part of this group, otherwise I'm going to kill you and your family, I want people to take that away instead of they've chosen to do this because, you know, it's what they want, what they believe in. But just like we have been fed information, so are they. Like, we're being fed lies every day, and yet some of us believe it and some of us don't. And
Do you think it's gone too far?
What, the eyes?
Do you think that? Yeah. So, like in the first bit, like in Romeo and Juliet in the original performance conditions, and like the comparisons that you made in terms of the Roman Catholics and Protestants, do you think it's got to a point where they've sort of forgotten what they're fighting about, or why they're fighting?
Yeah.
Do you think it's, and when you get to that stage, is there a lot we can do about it? I mean, is there? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, if you sat somebody down who said, you know, I hate Muslims or whatever, or you hate Polish people, or I hate homosexuals, or I hate black people, and you ask them to explain why, sometimes people just can't.
It's just
It's what they've been taught.
Yeah.
So do you think how difficult do you think that's going to be to?
Well, obviously you can't change someone's perspective of other people, but if we don't try, we're going to carry on having these people turn around like, well, I don't like homosexuality and I don't like this and all these reasons against it. But if you don't stop it now and at least try and show people, then it will never stop, and we'll carry on. Whether it will be 800 years after Romeo and Juliet was written, we're still going to be fighting about religion.
Okay, possibly.
Hopefully not.
Okay, Thank you. Have you got anything else you want to add?
No. Anything I can make my grade better?